Down to today's blast of winter. Yep, snow fell across Northeast Ohio, and another round is already on the radar. But as the temperature drops and the snow comes down, agencies that take care of the homeless say there's an emergency on our hands.
If we don't set up an additional 60 beds in our community, those folks could be vulnerable at losing their lives.
One of Cleveland's key homeless shelters just lost 5 dozen beds because of fire concerns. And as our 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis shows us, this is just one setback as the region's homeless population grows.
Well, multiple social service agencies tell News 5 that homelessness is growing here in Northeast Ohio. 6 homeless people have frozen to death here in Cleveland in just the past 2 years. And at the same time, the number of beds for the homeless is shrinking.
The first snowfall of the season, there's 2 young pregnant women sleeping under bridges in our community.
The Northeast Ohio Coalition of the Homeless says the number of people in our area turning to homeless shelters has now ballooned to more than 8,000. Stagnant wages and a lack of affordable housing are to blame. The average minimum wage person has to work 72 hours a week to afford a place to live.
We've seen a huge increase of 35% in families that are coming into the shelter, so more and more families are experiencing homelessness.
This gets absolutely packed. Some people only have 6 inches between each other.
To make matters worse, the Metanoia Project homeless shelter at St. Malachy on Cleveland's west side now forced to scale back to just 40 beds due to fire code compliance, when on some nights last winter it had more than 100 seeking shelter here.
It's absolutely critical. It means lives. It can be the question of whether somebody lives or dies. We're talking about where people freeze to death coming right up.
Metanoia is now scrambling to find another facility to make up for the lost beds and says it's imperative another location be up and running before Thanksgiving.
We've been reaching out to churches, buildings, looking into purchasing our own sites, speaking to anyone and everyone.
And social service leaders say with the resurgence of neighborhoods like Tremont in Ohio City, it's becoming increasingly difficult to find communities that are willing to accept a new homeless shelter in their neighborhood.
We have a community that is very giving in our community, but it still is hard to find places, particularly downtown and on their west side, where development is rampant.
Now, the Metanoia Project says it does have some good leads in replacing more than 60 beds for the homeless, but it says even if that happens, it's not clear if they'll be able to meet the growing demand this coming winter. Reporting here in Cleveland, I'm 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis.